In this lesson, we're going to continue to talk about the basics of GIMP. We said that we're going to take things little by little, easy and slow. We're going to learn everything that is fundamental and important in GIMP. So the first thing we want to do here is we want to have something to work on because right now we don't have any documents. So we're going to go back to the file menu. And in this lesson in particular, we're going to spend more time in the edit menu right here. And we're going to see extra things about the windows, and we're going to see the navigation commands, which are really important at the beginning. So you need to start to work with shortcut keys. You need to speed up your work and be more familiar with the shortcuts. So let's go to File and open up a recent file. So I'm gonna open up this lesson 3 PNG, which we created in the previous lesson. We talked about how to create different formats, and the PNG in particular doesn't have the background usually. So you can remove the background using the PNG, and that is thanks to the alpha channel. So right here we can work, for example, with the background. Now, let's start with something simple. So I'm gonna go to Edit, and here I'm gonna go all the way down, and I wanna create a new layer. I wanna create a new layer and fill it. Now, these are fills commands. These are um, really easy to use, and they're gonna fill everything with a single color or with a pattern. We're gonna talk about patterns later, but we're gonna do a few examples here with the color. So I need a new layer to do this. So I'm gonna create a new layer, and I'm just gonna say okay. I don't want to do anything in particular. So you can see now I have a new layer, and now I can go back to edit and go to fill with the FG color, which stands for the foreground color. So you can see everything turned black, and now I can place this down or up. If I place it up, it's going to override everything. If I place it down, it's going to be visible there in the background. Now you can also go to edit and clear, which is not equal to deleting the layer. It's going to just clear the layer of everything that is in there. So for example, now we can refill it with the BG color, which means the background color, which is white. Now you can see that here you have these two colors near the toolbar on the top left. This is the foreground color, and this one here is the background color. So they are visible right here if you want to know what they are, and you can also change them. So let's change this black with an orange like this. So you can select whatever color you want, and this now it's your foreground color. So if I go to edit and do fill, it's also visible here. It's going to be orange. Now let's continue, and let's also fill with a pattern. Now you can see that it's simply overriding and filling up the space on this layer right here. Now if you want to delete the layer, not only clear the layer, you need to click down here with this little X. Now you may see that there is also a keyboard visible, and the mouse buttons also are visible in this lesson, because I want to show you again some shortcuts, and I want to help you to see everything clearly and easily. So these are really easy operations to do to start with in the edit, and these are more complex. We're going to talk about these later on. And down here we already saw that we have some preferences, and if you're interested in changing or visualizing the keyboard shortcuts, you're going to go here, and here you will find all the shortcuts, all the commands actually, and all the shortcuts. So you can search for a particular action. So let's search for undo. So you can see that undo is Control Z. Okay, let's close this. If we go up here again, we can see the undo and redo. So it's just a back and forward movement of the actions. And you can also do undo history. Now this is the history panel right here. and you can find it usually on the third button here on these panels. So you can see that all the history of what you've done so far will be recorded in here. So you can just click and jump from one moment to another, or you can use the buttons down here to go back and forward. You can also clear everything up, so you can remove all the operations. Now, if you remove everything, you will not be able to go back and forward. You are stuck with this. So you cannot go back or forward because you don't have anything anywhere to go to. So you need to do again something like this, and then you can go back and forward. So this is really something really simple, and you will find this in any software. Now this middle part, we already talked about cutting and copying and pasting, but we're going to see some extra stuff about this. But before we go into these, I want to talk about the navigation a little bit more and the workspace, which is this middle area right here. So let's go little by little again, and let's see everything. So the first button we find is this one here, and this is the menu again. So you can access the menu also from here. You can also access this menu by right-clicking. So you can see if you right-click, it's going to show you usually a pop-up menu. Depending on where you are, probably could change. So if we are here, you can see this is the standard drop-down menu that we find also here on the top. Then we have the rulers. We already talked that these are X and epsilon. So moving to the right, we have positive X. Moving down, we have positive epsilon. And this is the space, which is a Cartesian field made of X and epsilon, which are also indicated down here. You can see down here that there are some numbers. Those are the X and the epsilon in terms of pixels, because pixels is the units that we're using right now. We already talked about that. And that's the zoom. Again, we already talked about also the zoom. So we can manage the zoom from here. Let's make 100%, or we can change it also in other commands and panels that we're gonna see shortly. One of these is this one right here. Now this is gonna bring it's gonna zoom the image when the window size changes. So let me just change the size here of the document, of the image. So it's 50%. Now, if I click here and hold just a second and leave, it's gonna zoom again to make everything fit perfectly inside your workspace, inside your window. And this is important because it's gonna show you the entire document, and it's gonna make it optimized so that you don't lose any space. So that's another interesting one. Now let's go all the way down here, and this is the toggle quick mask. Now we're gonna talk about masks later, but you can also see the shortcut key is Shift Q. So you click here and you created a quick mask. And again, you can go back just by clicking here in the history, or just do Control Z. And you can of course do the Shift Q. Now you can see that all the keys with my mouse and with the keyboard are indicated down here on the screen. Now down here on the bottom right, there is a little arrow, and this is a small navigation tool. So you can click and drag, and we are doing what is called the pan, which is a panoramic look. So you can move horizontally, you can move vertically, you can move in every direction. So this is pretty handy down here. Well, it's better to use shortcut keys again for the zoom and the pan, which are the two most important actions we're gonna use. So to do this right directly with the mouse, so quickly with the mouse with the quickest function, you can just hold Control and scroll the scroll wheel. This is gonna do a zoom. So you hold Control and then use the scroll wheel of your mouse, and this is going to do a zoom. If I press the middle mouse button, which is again the scroll wheel, if I press the scroll wheel, it's going to do the pan or panoramic, or essentially moving in every direction. Otherwise, we already know that we have these bars on the right and on the bottom. that you can use. You can move. Let's bring everything to 100% so we can move. Here, down here, we have the bar, which is not entirely visible because I've placed the keyboard representation. And then here on the right, we have the other toolbar. Now, if you scroll, your scroll wheel is going to scroll vertically. If you hold the Shift key, it's going to scroll horizontally or move horizontally. If you select Control and scroll the scroll wheel, again, it's going to zoom. If you click Shift and use the scroll wheel, it's going to move horizontally again. Now, if I press Control and press the middle mouse, it's going to do the zoom again. So it's another way you can zoom. And if I press the Shift key and the middle mouse, it's going to rotate. Now, this is more awkward, and you could probably fall into this, let's call problem or issue, because now we cannot work straight. This is not correct. So how we can bring it back, how we can fix this? Now, down here, you see near the percentage of zoom, we have this degree. So right click right here. So right button of the mouse, and you can see we have an angle. So you can change the angle right here in degrees. You can also click and drag this little icon right here, or you can just reset. And this is going to bring everything to the original state. I'm going to show you this again because it was a little bit hidden by the keyboard. So right click right here, and that's the menu. So you can see this little icon is going to let you rotate, and this is the reset right here. And you say OK. All right, so let's proceed. And these are the most important shortcut keys for the navigation. You need to memorize them. These are really important. Now, there are also others. So if you press 1 of the keyboard, it's going to bring everything to 100%. If you press 2, it's going to be 200%. 3 is going to be 400%. 4, 800. And 5, 1,600. So you probably get lost at this point because we are really zoomed in. And this is when another window comes really handy. So if we go to Windows, we have the recently closed docs, the dockable dialogues. Now, the dialogues we're looking for is this one here, navigation. So if you click here, it's going to appear right here on the right. You can already see it. And this is really handy because it's kind of showing you the piece of the puzzle where you are right now. So if you're working on really complex composition, you want to work in many details, you're probably going to do a lot of back and forward using the zoom. And you can see now we are exactly in the eye of the GIMP animal here, but we already are in this composition. So this is going to show you like a map of your little world, of your workspace, so you can figure out where you are at the moment. So you could be here or you could be here. So it looks like the same, but it's not the same position. So also here we can click and drag this little rectangle and it's gonna do the pan. And down here we have other tools to adjust the zoom. This one here, you can see it's really handy. The more you're gonna zoom, the smaller this little window will be, because this is showing you again where you are in the overall composition. And of course you can make this smaller and bigger if you need it a little bit bigger, but this is gonna get some space here from the main workspace. And then you can click the minus to zoom out, and the plus to zoom in. And again, we have the 1 key, which is zoom 1 to 1, which means zoom 100%. And then you have the adjustment of the zoom ratio so that the image becomes fully visible. And this is, again, the thing that we've done clicking here. So in order to fit perfectly the space and optimize the workspace. And then adjust the zoom ratio so that the entire window is used. So in this case, it's going to make it bigger because it's focusing more on the size of the window than of the image. So now we can see the document at its maximum height resolution, but we still need to move the bar horizontally because it doesn't fit completely in the workspace, because this is bigger, simply because of that. Okay, so this is another handy dialog or window that you can get it from here, and you can also get others that we're gonna see later. And just to show you some, the undo history is right here. So usually if you don't find it here, you can retrieve it from there. And that's it. So other things we can do here, it's Control B if you wanna like raise the toolbox. And then you have Alt 1 to go into this image. If you have more than one image, you can switch from there. You can hide the docs with the Tab key. So if you want more space, you can do Tab. It's gonna hide it. And you can decide if you want to show the tabs up here. And also you can change the position to the bottom or left. So depending on what document you are working with, you can try to adjust a little bit here the position of the various elements of the interface. And you can also use different windows. So not one single window where everything is docked, but you can use each single window and place it yourself on the screen however you want. So I'm just gonna go back here to the single window, and you can see it's also affected the position of the image in the workspace. Okay, so this is the part concerning the window navigation. Now in the toolbar we also have the zoom tool, or Z key to recall it. Now with the zoom tool I can click and zoom in, and I can hold Control and click to zoom out. But if I go here in the tool options, you can also change it from here. So you can zoom out and zoom in. And you can see here, if you hold Control, you invert the direction of the zoom. And also another thing you can do is click and drag, and it's gonna zoom inside that rectangle that you're gonna create. So it's gonna focus your attention where you create that. So click and drag if you want the window, or simply click and Control click to go back and forward. Another way you can use the zoom tool. Now we already worked with the copy and paste functions, but we're going to investigate on that a little bit more right now. So also want to show you that again, with the left mouse button, we usually apply some of these commands. With the middle mouse, we do the pen. With the right mouse, we open up the same commands from here. So I can go right click, edit, and I can go up here. But usually it's better to right click. It's going to be quicker. So let's copy, or Control C. It's even going to be even quicker because you're using the keys. So Control C is going to take everything it's in this layer right here, and it's going to bring it into another layer. So Control C and Control V. Okay, now you can see these dashed lines. Now this is a floating selection. And what does it mean? It means that you still need to specify what you want to do with this thing that you are copying and pasting. So if you have the move tool selected and you click and drag, this is going to move. You can see the pasted objects right here, so a little bit lower. But again, it's still a floating selection. Now, until it's floating, you can still fix it. You can move it around. But when you decide where you want to position this, you need to do a choice. You have three choices. One is to create a new layer. Look down here at the bottom of the screen on the right. So you either create a new layer, you merge this into the current layer with the anchor, or you can delete it. Well, deleting the layer is pretty self-explanatory. So let's create a new layer. So you can see now it created a new layer. Let's do again Control V in order to paste it again. And now you can see I have the exact same situation. So I'm going to use this as an anchor. So anchor the floating layer. And this is going to bring it in this one and merge it together. So there is a difference between creating a new layer and placing the image in there, or merging everything in one single layer. Now you also have other options here. When you do paste, you have paste in place, which is going to get the exact place of that image from where you copy that. And then again, same options here. We can create a new layer or not. Now right click, let's move on. Now we will talk later about the paste into selection, or paste selection in place, and so on, and also the buffer. But here we can paste these also from here as a new layer. So we can do directly without the floating selection using this. Or let me just go back here. Or as a new layer in place, which is going to have the same exact place of the thing that I copied. And also we have paste as new image. So it's going to create a new image. Totally different. Now let's clear this. So let's go to edit and clear. And if I go to window, you can see now I can switch with Alt 1 and 2. I can switch from one window to the other. Okay, so let's get this one here and right click again, edit. Let's do copy visible. And then let's go here and do paste. So Control V again. So you can see everything that is visible is going to be now possible to copy and paste. So these are more functions about copy and pasting in GIMP, and we're gonna see even more of that later on, like brushes and paths and strokes and other stuff. So this will be all for this video guide. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please subscribe to the channel to stay updated for other courses in multimedia, 3D, and graphic design, and so on. And if you want to support us so that we can create more videos like this one here, you can join the channel as a supporter. So thanks, and see you in the next lesson.